the man now formerly known as Prince Andrew has been stripped of all royal titles. His brother, the King, making the unprecedented call and confirming to the world that the formalities are now underway. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor will be forced into private accommodation and he will be stripped of all royal title. Well, he still gets this ordinary double-barrelled name. Still seems too regal for a man who thought the rules, decency and the law did not apply to him. According to the BBC this morning, the decision is due to serious lapses in Andrew's judgment with the Jeffrey Epstein case. A very British understatement. Time has exposed him as a self-serving liar, and whilst trying to protect himself, he's shaken the very foundations of the British royal family in the process. The list of inconsistencies is long, but this next list is by no means exhaustive. For one, he said he'd broken off the friendship with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, but needed to do it over a 4-day weekend in New York. After that 4-day weekend, an email since emerged, and he signed off with looking forward to playing again. He insisted he never met with his brave accuser, Virginia Giuffre, but never explained why she was then paid a reported $12 million settlement. And just this month, an investigation into claims that Andrew asked his private security to dig dirt on her so he could ruin her credibility and reputation. This, from BBC Newsnight in 2019, is perhaps where the downfall really started.
She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have a bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
Is it possible that you met Virginia Roberts, dined with her, danced with her in Tramp, had sex with her on another date?
No.
Do you remember meeting her at all?
No.
Do you know you didn't meet her, or do you just not remember meeting her?
No, I don't know if I've met her, but no, I have no recollection of meeting her.
Because she was very specific. She described the dance that you had together in Tramp. She described meeting you. She was a 17-year-old girl meeting a senior member of the royal family.
Never happened.
Virginia Giuffre was a 17-year-old girl when she met Prince Andrew at the time. She died by suicide in the last year. Her family today has issued a statement. It says, an ordinary American girl from an ordinary American family brought down a British prince with her truth and extraordinary courage. Virginia Roberts Giuffre, our sister, a child when she was sexually assaulted by Andrew, never stopped fighting for accountability for what had happened to her and to countless other survivors like her. Today, she declares victory. We, her family, along with her surviving sisters, continue Virginia's battle and will not rest until the same accountability applies to all of the abusers connected to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Prince Andrew has always denied the allegations. Joining me live now is Associate Editor and Royal Commentator at The Australian, Jenna Clarke. Jenna, you wrote a brilliant piece about this just a couple of days ago, talking about what kind of man the now formerly known as Prince Andrew is. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. It still seems too regal a name, too regal a title for him to even have.
Yeah, indeed, Laura. I mean, what an extraordinary morning that we're seeing unfolding from Buckingham Palace. But I think the one thing to take from this all is this is not a victory for King Charles or the monarchy itself, but I think it's a real victory for people like Prince William, and to a wider extent also Andrew's daughters, Eugenie and Beatrice, because this is all about setting up the royal family and the monarchy for the next generation. And with that one tiny little slither of that sentence at the end of that statement, the really strong part was when their majesties recognised and paid tribute to all victims and survivors of abuse, which I think just speaks volumes about how serious the younger royals have taken this issue for a very long time.
Yeah, they certainly have. The King has finally made this unprecedented move. It's been described in much of the British press as the nuclear option, but given what had been leaking out just in recent months, let alone, that BBC interview he sat for in 2019, I might add that he did that voluntarily, and we all had now, then after that, this kind of benchmark to go back and check exactly what he said. And over the years, he's been proven to be a liar. He's essentially been hung by his own words, Jenna.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the fact that, there was that Newsnight interview, and then there's, like you say, the continual disgraceful allegations that were being aired in the press, not only about himself, but then also his former wife, or who knows what the status of that relationship is with the now Sarah Ferguson, also known as Fergie. The fact that they continued to lie, but then had these relationships with this revolting individual being Jeffrey Epstein, just speaks volumes about character. And clearly this Prince Andrew has zero character at all, considering the way that he conducted himself in public. And then also when you see now all of the stories that are coming out both in mainstream media and also on social media about how Prince Andrew conducted himself in private with just members of the general public as well, was also pretty on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, it was absurd, some of that interview in 2019. It was absurd at the time. It's even more absurd now, saying he'd never met Virginia Giuffre. He didn't sweat. He was at Pizza Express. It was just a straightforward shooting weekend. It goes on and on and on. If it wasn't so serious, it would be absolutely comical. But just to really display what an odious man he is the accusations in the last couple of weeks is that he asked his private security, which is royal security, which is essentially paid by the taxpayer, to dig dirt on Virginia Giuffre, to help in kind of gaslighting her and selling her reputation. So in the eyes of the public, she doesn't look like a credible witness.
Absolutely. And I think that was probably one of the many nails in this coffin that has been built, like you said, since 2019. And also the fact that he's just completely tone deaf. Every single turn of this has been just a disgrace. I mean, as we saw over the weekend, the previous weekend, he said, look, I will leave Royal Lodge, his 30-room McMansion on Windsor Estate, if he can have 2 other royal lodges. And it's absolutely ridiculous. So the fact that this statement is so strongly worded about how he would be stripped for titles and honours and will now be seeking private accommodation, this really must sting for the prince that is literally just a Roald Dahl character.
You wrote this week as well that he was the Queen's mummy's boy, essentially. She was alive when these accusations came out, and I don't think it's an understatement to say that this has really shaken the royal family at a time where it is fragile anyway. You've got the Harry and Meghan saga. This Andrew saga has been one that has done so much damage.
Absolutely. And I think you would probably have to say that this Prince Andrew disgrace has probably been a lot more damaging than Harry and Meghan over there in California, because of just the absolute vile nature of all the accusations flying around. But the fact that, this does also lie at the feet of the Queen, may she rest in peace. But again, this just goes to show she did have a pattern of this type of behaviour. She had to be dragged kicking and screaming to actually confront issues that were impacting her family business.
Wonder what the Queen would think today, Jenna.
Yeah, mummy's boy, he'll definitely be praying hard today to her, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, he has got certainly the height of a rhinoceros, so let's see what happens today, whether he tries to negotiate his way out of this one, but he's simply known as Andrew for now. Jenna, thanks so much for your insights. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Laura.